Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Dana Lynn Cleveland.
Those of you who know me know that I can ramble, so I promise I won't. I promise I won't. The gift. I was born April 11th, 1960, to a 16-year-old and a 21-year-old. My mother was the youngest daughter of my papa, who was the pastor of the St. Peter Rock Missionary Baptist Church in St. Louis, Missouri. In addition to being born on April 11th, I was born under the veil. I was born when the stars aligned. I was born at 2:15 in the afternoon on the right day at the right time. And because of all of these things, I was given a gift. I can read people. I can feel what they're feeling. And sometimes if I stand close enough to them, I can know what people around them have said to them and how they felt about it. Except if it's a cute guy and I like him, I can't read nothing. Nothing at all. All I can do is just stand there and look at him and go, geez, I wonder if he thinks I'm cute. At 3 years old, my papa would stand at church after service, and as the tradition called, everybody would line up to walk by and shake the pastor's hand, and I would stand right by his feet. And lady would come up and shake, Pastor, how you doing? And shake his hand, and when she walked on, I'd say, Papa, Sister Green don't like Sister Jones' chicken. She thinks she can't fry chicken. And Papa would say, we're going to talk about it later, honey. I know. And then another young lady would come by and say, oh, thank you, Pastor. I really enjoyed the service, and everything was real nice. And shake his hand and go on, and I'd say, Papa, Sister Loretta do not like Sister Jones. She thinks she talked too much. She thinks she was singing too loud. She don't like her, Papa. And Papa would say, I know, honey, we're going to talk about it later. Just stand right here. So at that early age, my pastor, grandfather, knew that I knew. I always knew things, even at that young of an age. And that was cute when you're 3 and 4, and you know, they can kind of hush you along and send you along, and you really don't understand some of the things you know at that age if you have a gift. So it didn't mean anything to you, but by the time I was 8 or 9 years old, I knew real intimate things about people, real sexual things and relationship type things that they may not have wanted other people to know. And so my gift started to be a little bit of a nuisance around certain people, and they would be like, where's that little girl at? And then, you know how she is. I don't know how to get it. So I'd sit with my adult family because actually I think they sometimes wanted me to sit around because they wanted to know if I knew what was going on. So at my auntie's table, playing Pekino one day with one of her friends, and she said, let's up the ante. It can't stay a penny. Let's play for $1. Come on, let's get it up. Let's play it. And Pekino and everybody was looking around like, what's wrong with her? And so I leaned over to my auntie and I said, she gave all her money to her boyfriend. And she heard me. What did you say, little girl? Then my mother was like, it's time for you to go to bed. Because we don't want to have to fight this lady because you done told, because she trying to get our money because she gave it to her boyfriend. She was a kind of not attractive lady, and she was kind of heavy, and her boyfriend was about 20 years younger and real good looking, and she definitely didn't want everybody at the table to know that. So I started to get in trouble for my gift. And so my great-grandmother, who always would stand around and watch me and call me out before I got in too deep, started to school me and started to explain adult things to me even at that age because she knew I knew. And she didn't want me to get beat up or somebody else, adult, to be really offended and hurt me. So it was to protect me. She also didn't want some grimy things that I would know to affect me negatively. So she had to teach me how to protect myself and how not to let dirty things stick on me and make me act dirty. So I get to be a little bit bigger and I get to having friends, and I don't want my friends to know that I can read some of their secrets because then they won't like me. So I don't read my friends too much. Not too much. Not unless they didn't like me and then they wasn't my friends anyway, and then I read stuff on them, and sometimes I made them cry because they didn't want people to know. But I learned, that it was just easier to walk away, and sometimes that's a friend of a friend of a friend, and if you hurt that friend, then they don't want to be friends with you anymore. So I learned to keep some things to myself. But by the time I was in my 20s, I spent a lot of time around my grandmother, and she was a shaman, and she was from that lineage of my American Indian heritage, and they were very spiritual. And she started to teach me then how to anoint myself and protect myself and how not to really judge everything that I saw just because I saw it. So at 27 years old, my grandmother, my great-grandmother actually, was 100 years old. And she said, I'm tired of seeing it all. I'm tired of looking at people. People are stupid. They're not getting smarter. People are cranks. People just don't even need to, I don't want to see it anymore. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Granny? She said, I'm 100 years old. I don't want to see it anymore. She said, now you have to see it. It's your turn. I'll be like, I ain't got time for that, Granny. I got to get over here and party with my friends. So that May, about a month after she turned 100, she passed away. And I was lost. I didn't know who to tell things to, or if I didn't understand something, who do I go to? I couldn't really tell my grandmother because she was the kind of peaceable woman that would say, it's gonna be all right, honey. You're gonna be all right. But she really wouldn't give me anything that I could use. And I was in a particular ugly mood because earlier that year my great-grandmother had died, so I got a little reckless with it. I started being nasty about it and just looking at people like, look at you. Now you know so and such and such and such and such, and you need to quit. I got brutal with some people just because they were just standing there looking crazy and didn't think anybody knew their secret. And I'd call them out. It was mean, it was nasty, and it was a unfair advantage. And then there was Bill. Now, Bill couldn't stand me. He couldn't stand to see me coming. And I used to go up to a club that we used to hang out, all of us, on Saturday nights called the Fantasy Lounge on 6 Mile. And I knew everybody in the bar. I was friendly, I was nice, and that's just because I knew who to be friendly with, and the rest of them I ignored. So Bill would come in here, and she's like, she in here again. Look at her sitting over there. She thinks she know everything. I can't stand her. She thinks she cute. And I just looked around at Bill, and I had several of them. I used to like that Myers dark rum and Coke. I had about 4 or 5 already. It was early in the evening. Because when you have a gift, sometimes you got to turn it off. And drinking a lot of alcohol, sometimes that works. Sometimes it don't. Sometimes it make you talk too much. I looked around at Bill and I said, Bill, the reason why you can't stand me is because when you go home, you can't say a word. You can't open your mouth. You can't speak unless you're spoken to. That's why you get out here in the street and don't know how to treat nobody. That's why you get out here and try to be all boisterous and like you can really run something. Because when you go home, if your wife say jump, you say how high. Bill looked around at me and said, what did she say? I can't believe she said that. Who are you talking to? You think you know everything. You think you cute. I said, well, I do know this. When she say, shut up, Bill, you shut up. At this point, Bill done got up out the chair. He ready to come and jump on me. What? I'm sitting there looking all cute. I had this little blue knit thing on, my leg crossed. Shut up, Bill. Did you do what I told you to do, Bill? Is you stupid, Bill? I just read him. This man was furious. Now, me and Bill had been going back and forth like this for maybe 3 or 4 years, and I would just say, and ignore him. But this particular night when I was reading him, he was just enraged. And then I understood completely because I saw his wife. And I realized that I looked like his wife a lot. And it just made me angrier because I thought to myself, you will go home and kowtow to her and get in the street and mistreat me, and I just got worse. You know, that rum and Coke can get to talking sometimes. I was like, Bill, you know you need to shut up. You ain't got nothing better to do. I just started saying the first thing popping out my mind. And no doubt it was some of the things that she said to him. And Bill jumped up and lunged at me, and my friend Harrison Dickerson, I couldn't read him, but anyway, he was the he was the bouncer. He was about 6'6". He was broad at the shoulders, and he had his own natural wavy hair, and he was calm, which is important to people like me. I like to be around calm people. And he was like, Bill, you know we're not finna let you jump on Dana. Are you crazy? What is wrong with you? You had too much to drink, Bill. And I said, forget Bill. Come on, I told my girlfriend, let's go out hanging. Let's go partying. This ain't no fun no more. Bill done got on my nerve. So we got in our car and we went to this club and that club and we partied and drank some more, smoked some more, and did some other stuff, but I ain't gonna talk about that. But I looked at my watch, it was 1 o'clock. I said, let's go back by the Fantasy Lounge and see what they're doing. Come on, we can get one more drink in. It's just 1 o'clock. And we went by the Fantasy Lounge, and when we walked in the door, all eyes turned and just directly hit me. And I could feel the emotion in the room, but I couldn't read anybody. It was so big, I was like, what's going on in here? So I kind of stopped in my tracks. I'm like, oh my God, something's happened, something's going on. And before I could get those thoughts in my mind and try to focus on what I was feeling, Harrison came running from the back of he said, come on, Dana, let's go outside. Come on, let's go. I got to talk to you for a minute. I'm like, well, what you want? He's like, I got a joint. I was like, come on. So I go out to Harrison's car, and he got a big, long, pretty Cadillac. It's white with bright red leather interior. It looks so nice next to my blue dress. And I slid in the passenger side and got all comfortable and crossed my leg. And he turned on the music first, and then he's sitting there, and I was like, where the joint? Come on, what you doing? Then he turned the radio off, and he said, I need to tell you something. I said, what? He said, but first I want you to know, it wasn't your fault. There was nothing you did or said that could have made this happen. I'm like, spit it out, Harrison. What's wrong? What is the problem? And he said, well, after you left, Bill went out on the parking lot and got into a big altercation with some young boys. And they got to arguing, and we don't know if they got into it on the parking lot, but they left here squealing tires, and they had a really bad accident down the street. And Bill was killed, and 3 of the young men in the car, in the other car, were killed. And I didn't want my gift anymore. And I didn't want to read anybody anymore, ever. I didn't want to see what people felt anymore. And for a lot of years, I wouldn't read anybody, even if the people that knew I could do it and that I could help them and that I could talk to them, I would be like, I can't. I don't get anything. I try to turn it off, but when you know, you can't turn it off. It's just like for some people, for a smell or you heard something, and if you talk to people that know, they'll tell you. Some people see things, some people hear things. It just depends on your gift. But I didn't want the gift. And so for a long time, I would not even pay attention to the gift, and I drank a lot to turn it off because I didn't want to hear it. And then finally one day, out of the clear blue, I got a real good knowing. And it was about a young friend of mine, and she was trying to do right, but she had a gang of bad friends that they hung out with and they did things. And I wanted to tell her so bad to stop hanging with them. It's bad. You're going to get in trouble. You're going to get in a lot of trouble. I see. They're setting you up. You can't hang with them, but I didn't tell her. I wouldn't tell her. Then very soon after that, she did get in trouble. And she was sentenced to 25 years for her part in something that she had very little to do with. And I understood then that my gift had obligations and responsibilities. I can't just not tell somebody, and I have no right to tell people things that hurt them. I have spent years now trying to understand my gift, but it is what it is. It's a simple gift that God put in my spirit. I thank my grandfather for introducing me to Christ, my Savior. I thank my great-grandmother for introducing me to the spiritual aspect of my gift. Had it not been for these people, I would not understand how to control the gift. There's two things I want to say before I'm done. And first thing is, I have no judgment of people. At 55 years old, I have felt and seen a lot of things about a lot of people, but I will honestly say it takes a gift to not judge people. We all have something we don't want everybody to know. Every single person in this room and beyond. The second thing I want to say about it is, as I prayed and I became more spiritually attuned and more determined to be a disciple of Jesus, because I'm pretty sure he knew. I asked God constantly to make me a blessing. Because at the end of this life, no matter what I've seen and who I've interacted with, if I have not blessed you, I have not fulfilled the purpose that God gave me the gift for. Thank you.
Dana Lynn, Cleveland.